Ayup Woodlanders. Our sewers have cracked. So this week I am not in the woodlands at all. It stinks down here. I've got to dig and expose the pipe first, and then I'm going to go all the way to the road with it, because it's the old clay pipes that have probably been in, my guesstimate, about 100 years. So I'm sure Budo will know all about this. We're going to replace it with plastic. I'm not looking forward to it. So hopefully normal woodland service will resume soon. Got to navigate the swamp. Ayup Woodlanders, finally we've made it back into the coppice. So many setbacks, and we're about to cut some hazel. It feels in a way like I'm about a month behind. There's these few bits here, and then if we sneak in the pines just down here, this is just a little spinney of overstood hazel that is right next to where we finished last year. So last year, if I can go in, show you what we cut, see how the cuts are growing. I know the muntjac deer have had a field day this year, munching away at it, which is not good news, but I think it has been battered. Look, so the muntjac deer have basically eaten this off. This would normally be 5 foot high, and rather shockingly it's only a foot off the ground. Jeff said there had been nibbling it, and I did see it in the middle of summer and was a little bit concerned. But that, I would say, is worse than I'd imagined. So they've battered this in here. That one there's dead. That one there doesn't look very well. I can see one shoot. That's the risk we have now with the muntjac. That one's not doing very well. Is the muntjac will come in and keep nibbling this, and potentially with the risk of it not actually recovering at all. That one there doesn't look very well. So yeah, and see that one there where they've obviously not been able to get at it because of the branches around it, and now that one's sort of waist height and higher. These other ones are really struggling. Whether it comes back enough to be able to get cut in 6 years' time. Most of this will be firewood and charcoal. Don't think there's going to be much else of anything in this bit. There might be the odd hedge lane stake in it, but other than that I'm not too worried about finding rods. It feels like I've got an awful lot of cutting of hazel to be done this winter, and I don't know why. I feel under pressure again. I suppose I feel under pressure because I feel like I'm a month behind, and gradually the orders are starting to come in for hedging stakes, binders. I've had a few beanpole orders. I'm not going to talk to you guys any longer. I'm going to crack on and start cutting some hazel, which I'm dead keen to do. It feels daunting when you first start cutting the coppice because you just see the winter ahead of like, oh, this is going to take forever. But you just have to see every day, just keep ploughing on, just keep cutting, doing bits at a time. It's surprising how much you can get done. But I'm also quite excited to get going on it, get cutting the hazel, get the stuff out, get the product, and make a difference. That's why I do it. Try and make a difference to the woodlands, increase biodiversity, and to get the woodlands to thrive. Anyway, enough of my romantic waffle. we'll get going. We've made a start. First cut is the deepest, don't they say? Something like that. I can explain what we've got. That is firewood pile. This is weaving rods and possible binders, but we'll see. Hedging stakes yet to be dressed. Some long poles I've got on an order, and then charcoal is the last pile, and then that rod there hasn't been sorted yet because I've just run out of fuel. So we'll go and refuel my belly, refuel the saw, and carry on. I don't normally dress the rods every day as I'm cutting. My usual pattern is to do a whole load of cutting over several days, and then as the orders come in and the panic sets in, I like, right, I must go and get dressing some rods. And this year I just thought, is it worth trying to cut a bit, dress a bit, cut a bit more, and use the end of each day to have a bit of a tidy, dress the rods, and sort of keep on top of things. So I don't know yet. What I'll do is I'll give it a week, see whether I like that method or not, because somehow it feels slower, but of course we all know it won't be. So let me know what you think. Do you dress as you go, as in dress the rods, not get dressed? Or do you leave it like me and get in a mess and have rods everywhere? Somehow it doesn't feel like I've got ever so far today. I've only had 2 tankfuls of fuel, so I'm not likely to feel like I've got very far, because I'm still on school run duties because Karen can't drive at the moment. Oh, and then I met up with Jess so I could get the gate key. And of course, you've got to have a good old wander around and a catch up, get an idea of what needs cutting next and where. We've got about 20 odd stakes out. We've got a few of those 3 metre long poles for an order. We've got some weaving rods here and some there that I've got for another order I've got put together. And then a couple of heaps of firewood and a couple of heaps of charcoal wood. Been on a little gardening job this morning. You'd have laughed last week. The neighbour came round and was asking about this holly tree and asking why I don't trim it off her side. Well, the conversation escalated, shall we say, and I'm not somebody who deals well with confrontation, so this lady absolutely lost it with me. So I basically put my tools on the floor and walked away. We have massacred the holly as per the neighbour's requests, and it was take the shredder, deal with the rubbish, and then carry on lollipopping. So that's where I've been this morning. I was actually meant to be in the coppice today, and I was meant to be in the coppice yesterday, but with my sewer problems at home that I had all last week, which was a joke, turns out once we got them out there was about 6 leaks at least that we could detect, and once we took the pipes up, or once I took the pipes up, I realised that the joints hadn't got any kind of sealing cement on or jointing compound. I understand it that each joint they put a smear of sort of mortar mix in, push the next pipe up, point round it, then put the next pipe up, do the same again. Well, there was absolutely none of that. No evidence of there ever being any of that. All the pipes were done, were pushed together, and I think possibly clay smeared into the joint. Well, after anything up to, I don't know, 80, 90, 100 years of that, and the modern world where we use a lot more water, well, that was the end of that. I spent all of yesterday putting the slabs down and getting it ready so I can put the tractor back into storage and just crack on with my winter stuff without all of this hanging over me. I think for me, this year has seen some stunning autumn colours. The oaks and the beech, they'll be great. So I think our work here is complete for today. All being well, see you in the morning. Good morning. Got Karen with me this morning. She's just going to off to do some dragging out. Bella's supervising. I've managed to get my truck as close as I can. This is the mess that we made last year with Jeff trying to extract, me trying to extract. That got in a terrible mess and it's too soft for me to go up there, just going to get stuck. So I thought, Karen's extracting firewood for us, get that in the trailer, and then I'm going to start in here. There's a couple just down this old hedge line down here, we'll get those out as well. Good morning. I'll just show you this before we start. It's Monday morning. I can't be bothered this morning. Jeff's been building. That's great, that is. Sort of an outdoor lounge, isn't it, that? Getting busy in the coppice again today. Had a crazy busy weekend. These trucks suffer with saggy rear springs and nobody likes a saggy bum. So I robbed the springs off my old van, which were heavy duty springs. So I spent the whole weekend sorting out the rear springs, new rear brakes, sorting out this other widget thing on the back to do with the headlights. Anyway, we fixed that, so we've gained about an inch. I'll get changed and we'll head off in that direction. We're on about snow tonight. I don't know whether we'll get that. We'll have to wait and see. I don't really want snow. I've not had a chance to say this yet, but a couple of weeks ago I mentioned about we've got this new area to plant up the woodland, up our woodland, and my project is to replant that with about 200 or so trees. And I set up this Buy Me a Coffee about 2 years ago, and well, it does okay. I don't want to promote it too much because I don't want to feel like I'm begging for money, and all these YouTubers that make a lot of money and then they still beg for more money, and I don't know, I don't want to join that club if I can help it. But if you want to, if you feel like you want to contribute to woodland spaces, and if you can't physically do that, if you're struggling to think of, well, how can I support somebody who does this, how can I plant a tree but I've got no land, Anyway, you can do that by buying me a coffee if you want to. It's entirely up to you. I think it starts from like £1 or £1 or £2. And you can click on that, buy me a tree or buy me a sapling. And I honestly, I don't use that to go and buy me a beer. It's not that at all. The money's just held in that account until I decide to buy the trees, and I'll use that money then to add to buying the trees for that area. So for about £2 you can buy me a sapling, which contributes to its tree shelter and its bamboo cane, and know that your little £2 contribution can help the woodland space. And if not, don't feel bad. Go and plant your own tree somewhere, or maybe find a friend who's got a bit of a garden, plant an apple tree, and know that for the next 60 or 70 years the apple tree will produce fruit, feed people, contribute to the environment, sequester carbon and all that fancy words, and also create little habitats for others, other little critters. A few weeks ago I did mention it in the video about buy me a tree, and quite a few of you responded with several saplings, which was great. I really appreciate that. When people give to others and you've never met me, you don't know me, you've no idea whether I'm trustworthy or anything, but to give your hard-earned cash to someone like me and then trust that they will use that wisely, it's just a lovely thing, really. That it always blows my mind when people do that. So thanks ever so much for that. We really are grateful, and it just helps us to offset the cost of when we buy the trees. So rather than it costing me like £500 of my money, I know that you in some way have helped to contribute towards that, which is great. Love it. Buy me a tree. Okay, what's next? I'll give this a little tickle sharpen. Friday seemed to end a little bit abruptly. We had to dash. We had a great day. I managed to get the truck right next to where the woodland is because it was fairly dry. We managed to get this whole corner spinny bit done, and also I did what's called the depth gauges on a chainsaw, which are not the teeth, which is that bit there, that's the sharp bit. The depth gauges are that bit there, and it judges how much of the chain cuts into the tree. And I've not done the depth gauges for a while. Oh, it was like night and day. Love that. It always seems that I'm sharpening a saw in the woodland when actually I should have done it at home in the workshop, where I can get a really nice sharpen when it's in the vise, rather than wiggling on the edge of a pallet somebody else's wood store. It looks like Jeff has snuck in up here over the weekend and done a little bit of tractor topping. He's knocked down a bit of the bramble this side and this side, which has made the track a little bit easier to navigate. There's lots of umps and hollers, and you can see that sort of ruts or evidence of ruts still, and it doesn't make walking very easy. So that's great. He's done a little bit of that, and this is where we're at today. We started on this at early end of last week, with this being what we call overstood hazel, and it's also maiden cut, so none of this, maybe that one, but this one has never been cut in 20 odd years, so it's maiden cut now. As you can tell, it can get just a little bit tangled, and you try and fell one tree and it just falls into another one. So what I tend to do, just as a suggestion for others if you're doing this, is find it where it comes into a bit of an open or a clearing. So here I'm right next to the ride, is drop the ones next to the ride first, and then you can get in and drop the others once you've created this clearing, which is why I've left these two here, because I just couldn't get them anywhere. And now we've created this open area, we can drop them into these bits. This is our progress up to lunch. It's not going too bad really. If you've never done much in the way of maiden cut coppice, it's surprising how long each stem takes, or each stool takes. It can be quite an intensive process, each one. Clearing up, start again.
Beneath the starlit sky, our love's secret line, like leaves we soar so high. Beneath the moonlight, the soft touch your hand in mine gets me every time. Lost in the city lights, our love's electric ride. You make me feel alive. I know July is gone. You make me feel at home in the neon glow. As the leaves change color, I dive into you. When summer's fading, there's nothing to do.
My back's gone, so I'm going home. It's also just started raining. It's in the morning. Good morning. It was meant to be a coppicing day today, but I've decided I'm going to have a workshop day instead because I don't fancy getting cold and soaking wet in that today. So I'm going to finish off this, what I started a couple of weeks ago. We'll get those on, fitted, and also plot out where the sign writing is going to go for the name. So we can do all that. The log burner's going in the house, so we can nip in and out to keep our little hands warm. First job, we'll give that another sand because I'm not happy with the finish at the moment. These have got to be waxed because Karen does pyrography when she's feeling well, so these were done probably about a year ago. They've got to be waxed. Also, I could do with prepping these so that she's got something else to draw on because she gets a bit bored at the moment. Look at the colours in that. Piece of cherry from a place called Blackforby, which is a little village not far from us. There's an old thatched cottage in Blackforby called Oak Tree Cottage, and it's where my customer used to live, and she had an ornamental cherry tucked down in the back garden. And I says, oh, is there any chance I could have the bottom part of the stem? She's like, yeah, of course you can. And we are now probably about 12 years later, and it got sawmilled years ago and planked, and it's taken me till now to use it. But that's the beauty of wood, is that it's not a very instant process, and you could say the best things come to those that wait. Look at that, that's stunning.
Beneath an endless night, the world spins around. You're there, ease my mind. Like stars that never die, you and I will shine.
Good morning. Anyway, I just had to make a decision, and I'm like, I should be there, but I should be here, and I should be doing that, and I've got to do this. So I'm being pulled in all directions at the moment, and I don't want it to be one of them like, which I know I can get. If I'm pulled in all directions, I end up achieving very little because my brain just can't hack it, and end up procrastinating and getting nothing done. So I definitely need charcoal because our stocks are low. I've just took that one out, that one's cooked ready, so we're going to get that one bagged up. I've got these two filled ready with wood for conversion. Brand new one's gone in the Dragon this morning, and I've only just lit it about 20 minutes ago. So we'll wait for that to start gassing, which could be another couple of hours yet. I've got Bella with me today because Karen's off doing some craft projects with a local community group that pick her up, which is great. I just want to peel this larch in situ and then we can drag it out.
As the leaves change color, I dive into you. When summer's fading, there's nothing to do but bask in the glory of the winter sun. Maybe this is the season of love. As the leaves change color, I dive into you. When summer's fading, there's nothing to do but bask in the glory of the winter sun. Maybe this is the season of love. Maybe this is the season of love.
That's the end of this wood log. It's bye from me. It's bye from Bella. And if you're able to, why not file down your depth gauges? See you in the next one.